asset creation. So what is asset creation? It is a creation of assets. And this environment in particular is created using tons of different assets. Well, there are not a ton. There are just a few that have been duplicated and reused, and yeah, you can make a variation of textures for them. But today I'm going to show you the workflow of 3D models in 3ds Max, and then how to texture them, how to bake your normals and your ambient occlusion to add to the texture texture quality. And if you are a beginner, then I think this video is definitely for you. If you're really advanced, well, I don't know why you're watching this video. If you're intermediate, actually, well, you may want to skip this video, as it just covers the very basics of 3D modeling and texturing. But if you don't really care anyway, no problem. I mean, come along for the ride. I'll show you how I work with my assets, my workflow. Everybody has their own workflow. Every artist has their own workflow. I mean, most artists will have similar workflows, and this workflow is because I've learned from a bunch of artists, and I've gotten quite comfortable with it, and I like doing hand-painted style. So everything here is all hand-painted. There's nothing's taken from like cgtextures.com or anything. So that is what I am going to demonstrate to you guys today in creating your very own like textures and models, and it is really good. So enough about that. Let's go to 3ds Max. I will be using 3ds Max for the duration of all these tutorials. I'm quite familiar with 3ds Max. I've used Maya before, but I'm more. I just can't. I don't know why. I don't know. I'm just. It's hard for me to get back to Autodesk Maya now, and Blender. Well, I tried Blender, and I think some people are quite comfortable with Blender, and that's totally fine. I mean, Blender's free, so that's brilliant. You know, I mean, if you don't have like a student version of 3ds Max or Maya, you can always get Blender, and it's brilliant. So I'm going to show you some 3D modeling here, very quick, unwrap it. Before we do that, let's ask ourselves, what should we put in this level? You know, what can we add? You know what? I think we could add like a little signpost going "Orcs rule" or something, as it's an orc encampment. Just for demonstration purposes, because obviously in my world in this version of the orcs, they're supposed to be like the more honorable sort of guys, like the World of Warcraft ones, not the crazy ones from Warhammer. You know what I mean? And yeah, so I'll just give you a demonstration, since I'm not really sure what else to do at the moment. I mean, I could do like a little pig here now, but that would be a bit time consuming when it comes to sculpting. Right, we're gonna do like a little signpost thingy, and I basically have an idea what to look at, how it looks. But if you have trouble with like trying to get your models to look like a certain thing, you can always reference. Referencing is actually the most important thing when it comes to asset creation. It helps you find like how that exact object looks. But I've done a lot of referencing on signposts and wooden texture styles and all that. I've already known it by heart. So as you keep going along, you have that image in your head already, and you're like, right, I know how it looks like, so that's brilliant. But for beginners, it's definitely recommended to do a lot of referencing. But I mean, I'm not saying that as you're getting more advanced you can't. I still do a lot of referencing as well, because there are some things I'm not sure how they look. So, right. Oops. So what I'm doing here is just creating a basic post, and then putting the little sign on it. Because I make it more stylized by adding a. Oh yeah, I forgot to tell you what I was doing. So basically, I just in edit mode, you press 2, and you just select your outlines here, and you go to connect, and what that does is adds a loop to your object, and you can use these settings to go up and down. You can add 2, and that sets like that. So just play around with it and see what if you're satisfied with that. Oh, I think I just screwed that up. Right, yeah, and you just do that, and you just scale it. I like scaling the stuff, it makes it more exaggerated, makes it more cartoony, which is cool. I'm not much more. I'm not more of the. No, I'm not the type of person who goes for the super realism sort of thing. I like a bit of style into my objects, my assets, and my environments. Um, if you have a problem with like pivot, you can always go to this tab here called hierarchy. You click that, and you click effect pivot only and center to object, and it centers it for you. Or you can also customize your pivot while that button's selected, while that button's turned on. So now that I got that, is so now it's centered, so it's much easier to move. And let's see. Oh, okay. So what I've done just now is I made a simple box, and I've just bent it using the modify tool, which I forgot to explain, and I also forgot to explain how to extrude. So I mean, you have this edit polygons area here, and you can bevel, extrude. So bridge is usually mostly used to bridge between two faces. We'll probably use it in the future. I don't know if I'm going to use it here actually, but you can always experiment with it. Inset, and pretty much insets your face, so you can, if you want to make like another face that looks like it's just or like a different material coming out, yeah. And bevel pretty much it's like it's extrude, but it goes, you can make it go inward or outward. Yeah. And outline, I'm not sure what outline does, to be honest. Oh right, I've not used outline much. I usually mostly use extrude, bevel, inset, and yeah, bridge. So extrude, you can do that, but you know, you don't want to keep pressing that all the time. So what I do is hold shift and I press E, and it takes me into extrude mode. So now I can just extrude as I please. Then I can extrude here, and then you press W to get back out, and left mouse button W. If you're still new to 3ds Max, W is for the movement gizmo. E is to rotate using the rotate gizmo, and R is to scale gizmo. Make sure you don't double tap R, because if you look up here, it gives you this ununiform scaling. So just be careful with that. Make sure your scale is at uniform, which means that the arrow will be pointing outwards. And well, this one, yeah, and only with that one arrow pointing outwards, that's the uniform scale. Make sure it's not anything else. So we got another box here, so I want to make it more signposty, so we're going to add like more loops. If you remember, select your edges and hit connect, the box next to the settings button. Those are the settings buttons. So if you see them around in other ones, basically you just click on it and it'll give you settings before you can apply it to your model. So if I just click elsewhere, it doesn't apply. It's just a preview mode. So don't be worried, don't be alarmed if you see like, oh no, I see so much of these loops, what am I going to do? You just click out, and then just, you know, you can always go punch in the number there and just do it. So I'm going to put 2 here, and then I'm just going to yeah, I forgot to say, F3 is your wireframe mode. F2, I have no idea. Oh no, wait, I just went. I think you can also click here where my mouse is realistic. I don't know why I keep putting realistic on. I always preview with like the lighting. So change it to shaded. It helps a lot. And F4 is shaded with your edges. And if you press F4 again, it just goes shaded. So I always like to work with when I have my F4 on with the edge faces, so that I can see how I can select my, well, I can see how my faces are, if they don't clash with each other, so it's like no optimize issues and stuff. And if you want to look at this at a different view other than perspective, by the way is P in case you get lost. And if you want to snap back to your object, so if I were like, oh no, I lost my object, what am I going to do? Just press Z key, and that will take you back. Well, it's snapping to this because I selected the loops in particular, but if you're not selected anything at all, it will go back to your object in the scene. So yeah, it's pretty useful. So what was I doing again? Right, yeah, going to make this look more wooden. sort of thing, because obviously, you know, it's not going to look very straight and stuff, so it looks all benty and stuff. I could even add little right, that's what F2 does. So basically F2 it shades the face that you're on, but if you press F2 again, you won't see the shade of the face. But I always like keeping F2 so I know which faces I've selected. If I do that, it looks like I've only I don't know which one is really selected. It's quite hard because of the loops and the edge. I mean, the edges are red and all, but you know, this way is much easier. So right, press W, and I'm just making this look more like as if it's like another like pieces of wood. So, and we're going to sculpt it. We're going to bring it to ZBrush later, but if you don't have access to ZBrush, you can always use Sculptress, which is another sculpting tool by Pixelogic, and it's free. So it's totally free. So it's brilliant. So I mean, if that's what I was saying earlier, if you don't have like 3D software tools, you can use Blender, and if you don't have not Sculptress, if you don't have any sculpting tools, you can use Sculptress, and they're actually really good though, these free 3D tools. And yeah, it's right, let's see, I think that looks okay, but we have to look at the vertical part of it, which is kind of odd. So you know, I think if you want to see your poly count, press 7. You see all the polys and verts and the frame rate per second as well. So you know, you can preview to see if your thing's gonna lag in game or not. 60 for this is pretty good actually. It should be fine. We're gonna use a lot of textures to do all the work for us. So I think that is actually alright. I think that should be fine. We're gonna do a lot of texturing. You might actually have one more thing here. We might put like a nail. I was gonna make that into a texture, but I suppose we can't. We can risk a couple more polys here. It's not too bad. Before I do that, I'm gonna go ahead and delete this face because it's not going to be seen by anyone. So if those faces are not going to be seen by anyone at all, delete that face because it will save a lot of memory. So yeah, here in this instance, I'm going to delete this face below here because no one's going to see it. It's going to be stuck to the ground. And what else? Nah, I don't want to delete anything else here now because all these faces are going to be seen. So yeah, if they're not seen, delete that face. It really helps optimize the model. Sometimes this is not really a good way to do modeling because it could. They say that the lighting could clash and such, but since this is my personal project and I'm just demonstrating modeling to you guys, I suppose it should be fine. I mean, in most cases it should be fine. It's just that when it comes to lighting, and they usually have clashes. I pressed the wrong button there. Okay. Oh no. Oh no. If you find that you're accidentally locked, as in like you can't touch anything else and you're only moving that, it's because you press the spacebar. If you so right now I press spacebar. I can't select anything. So press spacebar again, and then you'll be able to select. So just a heads up, don't panic, don't be like, oh no, I gotta close my 3ds Max again, and yeah, so don't worry about that. It's just that you press the button. Don't worry about it. If something wrong happens, it's because you press the button. Right, so I think like yeah, I don't know what the hell I'm doing right now. I'm gonna try and make this smaller. I shouldn't really spend too much time on this though. It's just very simple sign, and we're going to use texturing as a way to sort of do it. But yeah, like I suppose I can make it look rotated, like the style. Oh, whoa, whoa! See, that's the thing. I pressed the I double pressed the R key too much, so it does make the scale like a bit weird. So there we go. We got our model. So I gotta minimize this. Sometimes it's good to. I have that's the thing. If you have your editor open in full screen, it kind of lags in your 3ds Max. So you might want to try and minimize it. So now that we have all our models, you know, we're gonna. You're probably wondering like, okay, they're all separated. So how am I going to put them together? Like, am I going to import them one by one? Nah, don't be daft. We're going to just select one of them. On here under Edit Geometry, you'll see Attach. Attach is what we're going to use to attach all our models together. It's not grouping; it's more of attaching them all together. It is in a case that, in a sense, that is one whole model. The theory is a whole model, but obviously that model is made up of smaller models. So if you look at this thing called element, you select that and you click on it, say this sign thing, it'll still read it as like a separate model. But so basically it's like a model within a model within a model. It's like model section. Whereas if you group it, it's just a bunch of separate models grouped together. So I'll show you what I mean. I'll undo here. So I'll just copy this, and so what I'll do is if I group it, I'll just group it. I'll put arc sign, and then basically it's it's you know, you think it's the same sort of thing, but when it comes to like importing it to Unreal 4, it's going to import it separately into 3 different models, and that's what we don't want. So that's why it's good to use attached. Is much better. And the good thing is as well is that they all share like one whole UV map, which means you don't have to do separate textures for each thing. That's just daft, to be honest. And yeah, so now we've attached it together. Before we do anything, go to Utilities and look at Reset Xform. You want to hit Reset Xform and Reset Selected. So what that does, I think it what do you mean I think? What that does, it's got tons of it. That's fine. It resets like the boundaries of your box. So for example, if I take another copy, I'm taking copies out. So if I do that, I'll just press Reset Selected, and you can see what happens there. You see what happened there? That box, it just goes. It repositions the box so that it's sort of like in line with the world. How do you say X, Y, and Z? And I guess it's usually I don't do that if I'm going to rotate it. No, I mean don't rotate your object before doing Xform. You want to make sure everything's all aligned before you do that. And so now that we have that, we'll just snap it. If you press S, and it'll be in snap mode, so you can snap on your grid. So when you import a model, or export a model, sorry, you always want to put it in the middle, always in the middle, and make sure everything's aligned. Because if you import it like that, if it goes into Unreal, your pivot in Unreal is going to be here, and your model is going to be over there. So you don't want that. So you want it like that. And now that we've covered the modeling part, let's go and unwrap this. Let's go down to your modifiers and look for unwrap UVW. Before I go ahead and unwrap, I want to show you guys how you can set up your stitch selected. Stitch selected is stitching is like stitching your UVs. That's what we're going to do. And let me see if I can find, which one is it? Customize user interface, is it? Yeah. So you go under customize and go to customize user interface, and then you look at all this. I want you to try and find, let's see if we can find, I'm pretty sure it's called stitch selected, because there's different types of ones in there, but it's a bit confusing. Let's see. Come on. Oh, I just seen it. Alright, it's called stitch selected. So what you can do is you go to the hotkey here and just you know, assign your stitch, assign your hotkey to that. It'll tell you if that hotkey is taken. So if I put like Control Shift E, it'll say okay, that's done, but that's face extrude, so I can't do that. But in this case, I got Shift S because I'm not sure what Shift S was previously, but I've never used it a lot, so I use Shift S. So go ahead and do that, assign it, and then once you assign it, open UV editor, and now you got your UVs here. So your UVs are pretty much like the information that you're gonna of the textures, but the problem is now your UVs all messed up right now. So if I click here and go to checker pattern, you can see some of your UVs are stretched, and they're just not, this one's weird, it's all weirded out, and that's not what we want. So what we're going to do is fix those UVs so that we will be able to texture properly, so that the texture information will be loaded into the UVs quite well. So what I do is I first go to mapping, flatten map, so I flatten everything out, and then I'll take it aside here, and I will click this button here, and on selection there's a thing called select by element XY toggle. So what this, just like the element earlier, it selects your model by model. So what I like to do is I like to unwrap it model by model rather than one go. So I'll just select it separately and flatten the maps. Don't worry about changing anything here, just leave as it is. We're just trying to flatten it so all the faces are properly flattened, so you can see every single face there. And let's see,